This is a 300-year-old clock and I have to reverse engineer some missing parts. Welcome to the first episode of Trade Secrets with me, Tommy Jobson. Hi and welcome back to the workshop. In this video I'm bringing you along with me as I reverse engineer a missing component in a 300-year-old clock. I used modern software to help me design the part, but all of the manufacturing process was carried out using traditional methods. This video did get a bit lengthy, so I've split it into two parts, so unfortunately you'll need to wait until next week to see the completed part. Before we get into the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to click the thumbs up and like this video. If you haven't already done so, please make sure to click subscribe and turn on the bell notifications to make sure you never miss a video. It really does help navigate the murky waters of the YouTube algorithm. I'm going to be posting lots of little video insights into the horological world I live in, so do not miss out. Also, be sure to follow me on Instagram at tommy.jobson for lots more interesting content. Here we have a clock made more than 300 years ago. At the time it would have been manufactured using hand techniques and far more basic machinery than we have the luxury of using today. But in those 300 years a lot can happen, and in this case the clock has lost several original components. A previous restoration attempt has already been made, but the work carried out was not completely in keeping with the clock. One example being this part, which is the back cock. The style is somewhat appropriate, however there are a few things wrong with the part. Firstly, the brass is the wrong colour. It's much pinker than the original colour brass. This is an original part and this is the replacement part. The original part is made from 6040 clockmaker's brass known as yellow cast brass. The second problem is that the part's been fabricated. So you can see here. It's been made up from plates hard soldered together or brazed together. Originally the part would have been made from a casting and then milled essentially from the solid. So you can see from the original component there are no joint marks at all. If you look at the engraving, you can clearly see that a space has been left within the engraving design. It shows the foot of the cock pointing downwards. For some reason, the replacement part has been made to cover the engraving with the foot of the cock pointing upwards. Why that was done is a complete mystery to me, as there's plenty of evidence on the clock plate to indicate what the part should look like, which I'll come on to now. But for some reason this was ignored. I'm sure the restorer must have had his or her reasons, but they passed me by. What are your thoughts? Please leave a comment below, in the comments below, with your ideas on why the previous restorer did this. So as I was saying, there's plenty of evidence intact on the clock to indicate what the part should look like. If we look closely, it's possible to make out some of the scribe lines. These are the original scratch marks made by the maker to show the engraver the exact location of the part, so that he didn't engrave where it wasn't necessary. It helped him to plan out the design of the engraving so that it flowed. It is also a fantastic aid in the restoration, as I can see the maker's original intention of the shape of the part. And this is where the modern world collides with us. To accurately replicate the original part, I used Fusion 360 to do the design work. The first job was to take as flat a photograph as possible, so that there's as little angular deflection as possible. That was then imported into a sketch as a canvas, and then scaled using a known reference measurement. I used the size of the screw hole in the plate. Once this was done, a sketch could be made to go over the top of the image, and then I was able to build a part and model a part from there. So now that the part is modelled, I can print out a drawing in 1:1 scale. First job in the manufacture was to bring a piece of cast yellow brass to an appropriate size to act as a blank. In this instance, I've been able to use a stock cast brass bar, as the part is small enough to be milled from it as a solid. For larger components, it's often necessary to make up casting patterns and to have blanks specially cast, but I'll get into that in a future video. The milling machine I'm using is a Swiss machine by Aciera, known as the F3. These machines really are the Rolls-Royce of milling machines, and when new would have represented a considerable investment. My machine has had a previous life, but has been very well looked after and is a joy to use. Once the blank was milled to size, I cut the 1:1 scale drawing to give an actual scale template to give an idea of the part hiding within the material. The blank was then returned to the milling machine to mill the main features of the part. When complete, I was left with a blank, which was at dimension in thickness and height, but with no shape to the design of the foot or the top. I used the template to roughly mark out the location of the screw hole, as this is the starting point of mounting the part to the clock. The aim of the game is to make and fit the replacement part in a completely reversible way. I would never modify the original parts of the clock to fit a new part. In this case, I first drill the screw hole, allowing me to mount the cock firmly to the plate. Burrs are removed using wet and dry over a flat granite plate. I make sure that the part is square, partly though through good habit, as it's not critical at this stage. With the part firmly screwed into place, I can remove the front plate and drill the steady pins through from behind. I'm not drilling the original plate, but I'm using the original steady pin hole locations as a drilling guide. Okay, so we'll leave it there for this week. Remember to click like and subscribe, and then and if you click the little bell notification, you'll then get notifications when I release a new video, so you'll never miss anything. Look out for part 2 for this video next week. Thanks for watching.